This conference will now be recorded.
This is the Mitchell County Board of Supervisors meeting. We're at the Mitchell County Courthouse. Meeting's available by GoToMeeting also. There's an agenda in front of us. If there's any corrections, let's make the corrections. Otherwise, I'll accept the motion to approve the agenda.
I'll make a motion to approve the agenda.
Mayor makes a motion. Is there a second?
Second.
Barto seconds. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Approve the minutes of the May 9th, 2023 meeting. Hopefully everybody had a time to look at them. Otherwise, I'll accept the motion to approve them.
I think there's one correction on the bottom of the
Okay.
Board of Adjustments. It says they were all voted yea. I think there's one abstained.
Oh, yes.
Very good, thank you.
Other than that, I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from May 9th.
Thank you for catching that.
Thank you, Mark. Hendrickson has made a motion. I'll second. Brian seconds. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Roll call, Todd.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Sydney. Jeff.
Aye. County Attorney General discussion.
Ladies and gentlemen, I don't have a whole lot today. I know next week we got the carpenter, the ordinance matter. Yeah, I guess get everything mixed up. Carpenter ordinance is on the agenda for next week. Rachel's got the documents for that, except for I will do a resolution for if that ordinance passes. I'm not presuming one way or another whether it will, but if it does, then there'll need to be a resolution, actually setting what the rate is. So I'll prepare something up. I'll just leave that blank. And Rachel will have it if you need it. Or, I mean, you'll need it. You'll have to fill it in with something. So I guess that's all I have at this particular time, unless somebody has questions.
Well, when I went to their council meeting, they didn't sign that contract.
I think they've got their attorney, and that's who I talked to.
Yeah, they got their attorney, said don't sign.
Well, but
Well, they're gonna work with you.
I've talked to him. And I try to be decent, but I do sometimes kind of say, okay, this is what it's gonna have to be. Some of the stuff he wanted in there was like, okay, I don't really care. There's a couple things, I drafted what I drafted based off of what was drafted before. Probably Mark Walk did that. I'm not for sure. I think he probably did, but I kind of modeled mine off of that. That pretty much looks out for the county, right? That's my job, is to look out for the county. I'm not saying I want to screw anybody else. I'm just saying that, my job is to look out for the county. So I focused on that. Sloter, who's working with Carpenter in Charles City, he had a couple of things he wanted in there that I hadn't put in there. I didn't really care about that much because I'm like, well, that doesn't really affect us. So on the one hand, I was like, no, you ought to just be take it or leave it. But then, you kind of calm down a little bit because you get a little, jazzed up, and then calm down and just like, I guess I don't care. That's between you guys. If you want it spelled out into the contract, it already indicates, for example, in the contract that they're supposed to contain, have a certain amount of liability insurance, right? It's already in some of those documents. Yeah, he wanted it like in a paragraph, specifically in a paragraph. Just like, okay, I don't care. That's fine. I don't care. And I will admit, if you're in his position, he's more looking at saying, okay, county, you're kind of putting this on us, so we want to make sure S&H, you're going to be above board and not screw the city, right? It's like, okay, I don't care. That's fine. That's probably good advice. If I were their attorney, I'd probably do the same thing. So I don't think there's really any difference now. Before, and I don't make any representations like, do this and it'll be good, because that's not really my place, right? I mean, that's your place. But I do offer some suggestions and say, I think on behalf of the county, I don't want this in, I don't mind this. So I think all that comes together pretty good. I think there was a little difference in some wording on how I drafted it, and it's kind of an awkward thing to draft, where there's going to be an initial 1-year term, and then after that, it just kind of goes on a month-to-month basis, which sounds easy, right? I mean, just like, well, why don't you just say that? Well, but then you want a notice provision in there, right? So somebody doesn't just walk away one day, just like, well, yeah, you can terminate it with 30 days notice, but it has to be written notice. So you can't just one day say, I'm out of here. So just getting those, and I think Sloter and I, that's their attorney, he and I pretty much, we agreed, and he took my language, changed a little bit, which I think makes perfect sense, but it's a little duplicative. And I don't really like duplicative things in contracts, because then everybody starts to wonder, why is it said twice, right? So I'm not meaning to ramble on here, but that's the kind of where we had a little nuance on there, right? So they've not signed it yet. I've told Sloter, okay, everything's cool as far as I'm concerned. I mean, I don't have any problem telling the county this is okay, but I had a couple words I wanted changed. And I've not heard back from him, but I don't anticipate he's probably going to balk too much. It's in their interest to get this done too.
So that's my comment, that is, if we have a contractor that's doing the job, and if he's technically not hired, he doesn't have to do the job. And if he doesn't do the job, then the DNR or the EPA gets on our case, which causes us expenses, which we transfer to Carpenter, because, so there's a circle of problems happening here. This doesn't happen.
So I think, I've said before, well, I even told their attorney this, so I don't think I'm not saying anything they don't already know. I told them, I said, I think I've even told one or two of you this, but generally speaking, when you're in any kind of a negotiation or a mediation, you like to have a certain, I don't like to be a part of any deal where I can't get up and walk out of the room if I don't like what I'm hearing, right? I mean, I always like to be able to say, okay, I'm done, I'm leaving. And I do that fairly often. This is a case where you can't necessarily do that. I mean, you can, but you'd rather not have to, right? So that's why, as I've said before, this was not a particularly good deal for the county. Just not. All we're really trying to do is make a terrible situation not get more terrible. All right? And so sometimes I feel like, putting up with a little more crap than you normally would, just because you can't necessarily just say, I've had enough of this, and walk out. I will. Well, I wouldn't, not without, you know what I'm saying. But anyway, I think I'm not particularly concerned. Sloter's a pretty good guy to work with. Basically, the wording I want to change was pretty simple. I don't anticipate a problem.
Okay.
I can't guarantee that something won't come up at the last, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't anticipate one. Certainly not my intent to blow things up. But sometimes there's a time and a place to blow things up. This probably is not it, so.
Very good.
Okay?
Any other questions for the attorney? Thank you much. Sheriff update.
Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Real briefly, my budget remains on track, so that's a good thing. There's some end of the fiscal year bills, though, one I have to take care of. And for Sydney's benefit, the rest of you have probably seen this, it's a shieldware contract. It's a maintenance contract that we have with the company that has our operating system. That's like $9,000. So when you see that, that's what that's about. Everybody else has already seen that. I'll get that one taken care of. One that I may try to prepay off of this year's budget is the upfit of the new pickup that we should receive sometime in July. That's around 10 to 11,000. So if I can get that taken care of out of this budget, take a little pressure off of next year's budget. So I'm gonna try and do that. If you see that come across, that's what that's about. I'm gonna try and get that paid probably 1st of June-ish. So you may see those two big expenses come through. Other than that, Aaron's here. I just have a question. And if we have a problem bar, liquor establishment, and it continues to be a problem, is there anything this board or the county attorney can do in regards to liquor licenses? I haven't researched it, so just something I thought about this morning. If it continues to be a problem for us.
I think so. I'll look into that a little bit more. I don't want to go on record saying too much because I'm not confident in my answer enough to say it.
That
But it seems
might
to be
just be
that-
one avenue that I might research a little bit. And
I'll take a look.
try and put a stop to some things that are happening. If we can't do it in another way, that would probably be the last resort. So anyway, gets to that point, we'll name the establishment then. But until then, just let us try to handle it, but something might ask from you guys down the road.
Okay.
That's all I have, unless you guys have questions for me.
I'm gonna look at it. I'm gonna put it on my list.
Appreciate it.
Anything for the sheriff?
Thank you.
All right.
Thank you. Department head discussion. Any department head discussion from anybody?
Yep, I got something.
Yes.
There's a new face in the room. This is Macy.
Hi.
Her first day is today, so we're gonna start training. And then when I'm done, she'll be taken over. I just wanted to introduce her to everybody, so I don't know if you have any questions for her, but if you do.
Welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome. No questions at this time.
Okay.
There probably will be, so.
Okay.
Okay.
And feel free to come to us anytime.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Any other department head discussion?
I've seen that.
Okay. County engineer update.
We have the discussion on possible action on the road closure. I brought Jaden North from the Emergency Management Services, right?
From Sanford.
St. Answer Rescue. They're requesting, I'll let him kind of give you an idea of what's happening. They're requesting a road closure section of the Ringgold Road.
Yes.
So I'll let you just kind of explain what you guys are looking for.
So Sanford Rescue and Sanford Fire Department are trying to do a joint training operation of a multiple casualty incident. What we want to do is we're going to put a bus and another truck in a ditch / kind of a field drive. We're talking to the property owner, but what we want to do this according to Google, south of the address 4075 Red Ball Road. It's a curve there in between, Mitchell and St. Ansgar. We want to close the road on June 9th in the afternoon, probably about 12 p.m. until June 10th, probably until 4 p.m. On June 9th, we would want to set up and, put the bus in a ditch on its side and put wherever the truck's going to go in a ditch probably. And then on June 10th, the exercise will start at approximately 9 a.m. Should last till 3 p.m. and then clean up, 3 to 4, and then we reopen the road after 4 p.m.
You're actually gonna put the bus on its side?
Yeah.
Are you? Okay. Okay. I mean, I don't care, I just, okay.
So with the request for road closures, you guys got to approve.
It's gonna be a hard closure.
I think we should do a road, other than the landowner that's got to get to their property, maybe on the 9th, it's just some signs that are up, and then on that morning, you want to fence it off, or what are we looking at for?
I think
the landowner, you're gonna have to talk to the landowner there that needs probably access back and forth, or where you plan on closing the road, just at their driveway. We could put notifications at the intersection north of there and then a
Right.
hard closure south of the driveway.
It'll be south of their driveway,
Okay,
for sure. I don't know exactly, we don't need a whole lot of room, but,
so you want a hard closure there and some advance notice up at the intersection?
yep. And then we'd probably do another hard closure like here-ish, I would
Okay.
assume.
So everybody would be able to get out, the landowners, correct?
There's only one that lives in Northland, I think, but yeah.
And they'll be able to get in and out.
Yeah, yes.
We'll put advanced signage north of the closure where that landowner lives, so they can access their property without any issues. They just wouldn't be able to go south and then to the east. And then looking at the map, I don't know if there's much south of the curve there, but they'll have access to their property and, except, I don't even know if there's probably a field driveway or two in the way, but I think right now for a day, I think they can probably sacrifice, but it's up to you guys to allow road closure or not. I don't have a problem with it. We'll help them out what we need to for signage. If that's okay with the board.
It says discussion of possible action, so I'll accept the motion to close section of road on Red Ball Road. I didn't get the address, I'm sorry, but I forgot it.
4075.
4075. So just south of 4075 on Red Ball Road, section of road. I'll accept the motion for that.
I'll move to make that motion.
Brian makes a motion. Is there a second?
I'll second it.
Marco seconds. Excuse me. So,
They'll talk to the landowner then?
Yeah, make sure that's.
We're talking to the owner that owns the farm property, so we can, put it in his field.
Is that the same owner north of there?
I don't know that much, but
We talked to them.
You maybe just want to have a conversation, tell them what's going on so they're aware of it.
As long as everyone's communicating too, I think it'll be fine.
And I have a question on, so you're gonna set up on the 9th. This won't be a hard closure throughout the night. Will everything be away from the road throughout the night?
yes, there'll just be some vehicles sticking out of a ditch, so.
Okay,
I'm not sure.
just so there isn't anything on the road.
Yeah.
Cause you won't start your training until the 10th in the morning, right?
Right.
So, yeah, I just don't wanna have a part of a truck sitting on part of the road,
Sure. Is that the intent? Does it have anything on the road overnight?
I don't believe so.
Okay. But we can still, if there's stuff in the ditch, we can channelize, use cones or whatever to warn people, and then when they go to their exercise, they can move that stuff out of the way.
if it's on the road, that's a different situation.
Sheriff, did you have a question?
I just had a comment. I think it would be best if you had some type of public service announcement so that people that see what's going on don't believe it's a real incident, especially when it's a school bus. It saves phone ringing at my shop and probably at,
Everybody else.
supervisors or wherever. So I don't know if you have signage that would say EMS training event ahead. You can do some Facebook stuff, whatever you need to do to get the word out so the public knows that it's a training event.
Sure.
It's much easier to deal with that ahead of time than during the event itself. Believe me, I know, I've been down that road with cop training and we don't post it and then people get a little excited because they think it's a real deal.
Well, it's hard to put people in a position of training to say, how would you react without knowing? And then you gotta tell everybody that they're knowing, you know what I mean?
Well, I'm not so much worried about the trainers and those staff, just general public, they're out, they're motoring around,
Yeah.
see stuff going on, and they think it's a real event and.
Then Facebook blows up.
Yeah, so if you could do something like that, I'd be appreciated, and we can, I guess, move forward from there.
Any other discussion?
So we'll coordinate with Jaden on the signage and stuff when the days come, so.
Okay. Hearing none?
Roll call, Jim,
Aye.
Sydney,
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
Aye.
Todd.
Thank you.
Who's that?
Nothing really to report this week. Again, working on some plans to close, projects to close out. We did have some minor flooding last week up in the northeast corner. Found some plugged culverts that can't take all the rain when it comes down, but did some repairs and things like that. And then actually on Saturday, we got all the rain Saturday or Sunday, I can't remember what day it was now. Sunday, some places that we had fixed actually took water better, so. Just gonna be doing some repairs and things like that. We're gonna work on some guardrail repairs on the bridge over by the quarry that was hit last year by the combine. Other than that, we're just getting our paint maps and our rock run maps put together so we can get that bid out soon, so.
What's the damage to that bridge?
What's that?
Much damage to that bridge?
I don't remember what the dollar amount was, but it was turned in on their insurance and we got money back for it, so. I can't remember what the dollar amount was, Mark, for sure.
They're doing them culverts on 450th there.
Yep. They got an odd size in there, a 20-inch culvert.
20 inch, that's odd.
They can't get 20-inch much anymore, so.
Oh, they use the plastic, which is.
Well,
They'll do it.
they'll get the extensions on it or replace the whole thing, whatever it needs, but yeah.
Looks like they're putting it.
Those culverts are narrow at the intersection of 450th and Train Lane, right? Or not Train Lane, but Angle Road.
Yeah.
The two angled roads we have that are.
So it looks like it'll work good.
Yep, so that's all I've got.
Any other questions for the engineer? Thank you much.
All right.
Discussion and possible action on HVAC pay request application 12. That was in your packet this time. It's in the amount of $8,813.74. I'll accept the motion for that.
I'll make a motion to pay request application number 12 of $8,813.74.
Mayor makes a motion. Is there a second? I'll second it. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Roll call, Mark.
Aye.
Mike.
Aye.
Sydney. Jim.
Aye.
Todd.
Aye. So I can just give a brief rundown on what's been going on. They were here, Andrew visited on the second. We looked at the courthouse mechanical room. Some of the controls have been installed. The dirt separator is installed. The pipes are not insulated yet. Went to the jail mechanical room. Not a lot of work has been done down there since the last visit. And we went to the attic. There's additional pipe work that's been done up there. Temporary cooling has been provided to pertinent areas of the jail facility so that it's a workable environment there. And there's plans, weather depending, to open up the roof and get a large air handling unit into the attic to continue. And things are kind of revolving around that happening. That's got to happen to kind of keep going with things. So that's the next thing on the list. So that's the update. Next item, discussion on courthouse maintenance tractors. So we approved the budget last week and we had gotten some bids earlier for a grounds tractor. The quote deadline ended on those. So I guess I'm just wondering if the board wants to follow through and get some new quotes on that so we can proceed on that. Is everybody good with that?
I think so. It's needed.
Okay. Sydney says yes. Mark? Sure. Todd? Okay. We will move forward and do that. Approve fireworks permit. There's a fireworks permit that is Flashing Thunder Fireworks. We'll be doing the display. It's set for May 27th, starting at 9:30, ending at 10:30. It's at the address of 1872 350th Street. The rain date is the 28th, the next night. I'll accept a motion to approve that.
Make a motion for the fireworks permit?
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Hendrick's motions, Brian seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none.
Roll call, Todd.
Aye.
Jim.
Aye.
Sydney. Mike.
Aye.
Mark.
Items of note, meetings attended. Mitchell Soil and Water Conservation District meeting. We talked about there's a soil health event that's being planned in Charles City. do not know the date at this time. There'll be various speakers that will be there. And then in the Rock Creek watershed, they're continuing to do water sampling. They're gonna have a thing at the potholes for fifth graders. It's gonna be a forestry, wetlands, and conservation education event for them. The coordinator for the Rock Creek watershed is going to come visit us one of these days to discuss what he's been up to. We'll be having him on the agenda. There was a large increase in the number of windbreaks this year, and some are gonna have to wait just simply because there isn't enough funding to do all of them. They want to put signs up on Highway 9 to designate the Rock Creek watershed on the east and west side of the shed. And they also want to place a sign up at their Ramsey farm. And again, their Ramsey farm is their demonstration plot as far as what they're all about. Sign up there that just shows that there's cover crops in that area. And then we had a Riceville Ambulance Service meeting. Sydney, do you want to talk about that, or? Go ahead. Okay, so the County EMS Association needed to fill out a report. It's a 22-page report, and there were a number of us in attendance there. Dr. Ross was there, pardon me?
And yes, I'm still also by for EMS, Dr. Ross, Chris Olson.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Is that it then?
And the new director, what was his name?
Jesse, he used to work for NICOG, can't remember the last name, Jesse. So he's kind of the one that fills these out for all the EMS areas. And so we went through the needs as, first, I'm not going through the whole thing, but just an example. The EMS system shall have a written vision and mission statement. Have we completed that, or is it in progress, or is it not started? So there's a number of questions in regards to that as far as where Mitchell County is at with that. And then he submits it, and then successful submission of this enables grant funding to the EMS system. I think that's in a nutshell kind of what happened. That's all I had.
I had that meeting and I had a short landfill meeting, just a few updates, budget wise, so.
I didn't have any this week.
Nothing this week.
I mentioned this last year that I had nothing, in the month of May. I get tired of kind of saying that, but FMC Early Childhood, FMC DCAT, and Mitchell County Fair Board, because of a lot of farmers, May is kind of a slow month for me, so we'll get back at it in June. So.
All right, public comments. Hearing none. The meeting is adjourned.